Hello, good
Good
evening,
evening,
everyone.
everyone.
Let me first, good evening, everyone, and we are today on, welcome all of you to this 99th episode of Sky High Symposium, and we are at the Delhi Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, ICI Bhavan, and addressing all of you, myself, CA Preeti Savla, Chairperson of Women and Young Members Excellence Committee, joined by CA Abhay Chajer, Vice Chairman of Women and Young Members Excellence Committee, and we have Shweta Panelia over here, co-opted members, the speakers, CA Beros Kamdin, CA Rupal Haria, and our very moderators, Subhashini, Amisha, Shilpa, and my all dear participants. Welcome all of you. And we are seeing this journey since last more than 1 year of this Sky High Symposium, and I'm very happy to share with all of you our efforts to bring this platform to all the speakers, moderators, and disseminating knowledge to all of you is really becoming successful with this 99th episode. And on 9th of this month, we are having 100th episode, and we'll be completing the century of this symposium. Again, we had a very successful year this time, and we had this 100 episodes, various seminars, various programs, five residential refresher course for women, youth symposiums, and also first time in the history of 75 years of institute, we have conducted first ever women CA Women Excellence Awards, and entire credit goes to entire team, Vice Chairman Abhayji, and office, opted members, all jury members, entire council members, president, vice president, and one council member who has supported, and office team, Shanu, Ruchi, Jaya, Saurabh. And with these words, I welcome all of you, and becoming emotional to conclude this year with the highest note. And I also request Abhayji to please share his words of wisdom on this journey for this year of this committee.
Thank you so much, CA Preeti Savla Ben, and the Vice Chairperson of this very important committee, I would say, because it's a combination of women and young members. So, Women and Young Members Excellence Committee, and truly was a privilege and honor for me to share this year with you as Vice Chairman. And I think you've already shared the initiative which this committee has taken during the entire year, more particularly in terms of the achievement on the ICAI Excellent Awards. I think the Excellence Awards were an excellent initiative from this committee, first time ever in the institute or the history of ICI. Now we have women being recognized, encouraged for the work done throughout the year in various sectors. It was, of course, we had identified few sectors, but we'll be adding more such areas and sectors where women members have done excellence, and they are, they have been doing so well in different sectors, which was recognized. And I'm sure we'll have more nominations in the coming year, and we'll be able to recognize more such women across the entire country. And of course, special thanks to CA Beros Kamdin and Rupal Herdia for joining us on this 99th. Of course, it's an historical day because double line, we are doing the Sky High Symposium, and on 9th again we'll be doing the 100th. So you can say 9 actually is it's a lucky number for this committee. So today 99 and 9th again we have the 100 number. So thank you so much both of you for agreeing to be the speaker on two very important topic. I must say, of course, we have the value proposition and enabler to success, which will be taken by and been one of the awardees, I would say, in the Excellence Awards, which was announced this year, Kamdeen Beros. And of course, very important and hot topic, I must say, 43B, which will be taken by CA Rupal Herlia. Thank you so much. And of course, the three important moderators, the Q&A will be taken by Amisha, Subhashini, and we have Shilpa. So once again, I compliments the entire team of Women and Young Members Excellence Committee for doing so much work during the year. Of course, we have the co-opted member, fortunate to have her today at the 99th Sky High Symposium, Shweta and Shanu from the office, an entire team of ICI for organizing this weekly Sky High Symposium for the members, for the benefit of members, for women members to learn, to improve their skills, to do value addition in whatever work they do. And I must say that because that is the real role for all of us as a member of ICI and role as a partner in nation building. So once again, welcome all of you for this 99th episode of Sky High Symposium, I would say as an episode, because it's actually most practical, interactive and learning for all the women members who participate in this webinar. So thank you all of you for joining, all the participants. Thank you so much for joining. And I wish a happy learning for next 2 hours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abhayji. In addition to what Abhayji has said, we have also conducted flexi and part-time campus placement program for women members also, where 1700 plus members have enrolled and 20 plus companies have actually joined for their recruitment. And it's a marathon task which actually been conducted by the committee. And again, I can see the Beros, Madam, congratulations to you and all the awardees who have actually recognized, and this recognition is actually for the leadership, and this is motivation to all the women, all the participants who also we want them to see this recognition coming over to you all, and that is why we are putting our best efforts for all of you. Please come forward and ensure that you are also becoming recognized by ICAI. You are coming as a speaker, as a moderator, or anyway, whatever support required from ICI, we are always there. And with this note, I once again welcome all of you. And Shanu, if you want to share something, being a secretary of the committee, today is a time to share some thoughts from your side.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity, and I would really like to thank both of you for the able guidance that you have provided me all through the year. And I hope I have fulfilled some of the duties or the responsibility that has been put on me to my best of my ability. And thank you once again.
Yeah. So you want to share something to participants?
I just want to say that this is one of the initiatives of WYMEC and its success depends upon you. आप लोग आओगे तो हमारे इनिशिएटिव सक्सेसफुल है, आप लोग नहीं पार्टिसिपेट करोगे तो हमारे एफर्ट्स शायद वो इतने रिजल्ट नहीं ला पाए. So it's all because of you. Please come forward. Please be associated with ICI, your alma mater. Please be associated with this committee.
And all these are actually put up, recorded. Recording of this are being put up on the ICI portal, women portal also. So anytime you can watch this. So Shweta, you want to share something? Yeah, great. So over to Subhashini. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti ji and Abhay ji, for setting the stage right for all of us here. Thank you so very much. Good evening once again. And today's session holds promises of enlightenment, as we have great speakers today with us to explore the realm of respective topics given. Today's first speaker, CA Behruz, will grace us with her insights. I would take the excitement to introduce her to all of you today. CA Behruz Kamdin is partner with Deloitte India. She is a commerce graduate and a CA with over 27 years of work experience in corporate and international tax. She has always been in professional services firm and has worked with BSR and Company and AF Ferguson and Company. She is a prolific writer of articles and regular speaker at webinar on topics of tax and regulations relating to financial services sector. She has conducted workshops with Indian Banks Association and Life Council on FATCA or CRS, and also written several articles and chapters regarding the same in a book. The New Delhi Institute of Management has conferred her with the Business Excellence and Innovative Best Practices Academia Award 2019. She has been recognized in the category of leading in the top 100 women in finance 2019 by the Association of International Wealth Management of India. She has received the CA Value Creator Award from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India in December 2023. With such accolades, I think we have to put a good round of applause to welcome you, ma'am, and the stage is yours.
Thank you, Subhashini. And thank you, Preeti and Abhay, I think the work that they've been doing is commendable. It's a privilege actually to be recognized by the Institute. And thank you so much for doing that. It's an honor for us. So coming to today's topic for discussion, when they reached out to me, I was thinking what we should talk about. And since I got the award in Value Creator, I said, why not discuss the value proposition that we bring to our services? And so I took up that as a topic for discussion. And when we look at the journey, I've actually seen that it has helped me success. So if I'll just try and share my presentation, few slides which I have. You can see it now. Subhashini, can you see the slide?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Okay, it's not in the slide mode now. Slideshow mode, is it in slideshow mode?
It's not on yet. It's not.
yet.
Okay, I'll just stop sharing and again do it. Is it there in the slideshow mode now? Is it fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
so value proposition and enabler to success. And this actually helped me in my career a lot. I've got a small video before I start discussing, and just to show that, and this is very surprising which I got. So I just want to see whether it works through like this. I'm not sure if it's working through. Can you see the video?
Not yet, ma'am.
I think you'll have to click on the link.
Can you see the video?
Compared to wooden doors, Pravesh doors
No,
are
ma'am.
more durable and secure. They are free from termite attacks, fire resistant,
We can't see
and
the
don't need to be treated with pesticides. They are almost maintenance free. Pravesh doors have higher resale value, are recyclable and environment friendly. Pravesh doors from Tata Steel is here to change the way people think about doors.
Were you able to hear the video?
Yes, ma'am. We were able to hear it.
So if you can see, I don't think most of us even knew that Tatas were into making doors. And the way they showed the door is not just for closing a room, but they actually add a certain value to it. So I found it very interesting that when we do a particular service, we just don't do that service, but they told as to what else it does. And that is something which we need to be very mindful of whenever we're doing a particular service to our customers, our clients, even to our teams internally. So value proposition can come in different forms. And therefore, you need to look at the brand that is associated with it. How are you, your product, your services which are there, and how are you going to provide those services? So today's discussion we're going to cover is what is value proposition. And when you look at otherwise, it's like it's all there in consulting, especially. They have a lot of plan prepared for value proposition. We generally just do it, however it comes to us. How do you go about creating a value proposition? What are common errors in delivering value proposition? And then what's the success factor for it? So what is value proposition? And I think it's like dil mange more. You are doing a particular service, but you need to look at the holistic picture of it to really do what's value proposition. Don't just stick to what question has been asked, but look at it to say what more can be given than just the response to that question. So we have this person who said as to what do you mean by value proposition? Cultivating your value proposition life is the way to move forward. You are the raw material of your own destiny. You're not looking at value proposition when you look at someone else. It's for you. What are you perceiving it, and how do you provide services, and what solutions you're giving? So it's completely on you as to what is the value proposition. So value proposition, like I said, in a particular way, is that it's the uniqueness of yourself. There's no second Beros come in, hopefully. So we don't want to clone someone. We should have our own identity. It's our own uniqueness which is there, and that provides the value which is required. So it sets us apart in this marketplace and among the target audience that we want. So it's very crucial that we really realize this. The ocean is vast, and so are so many companies around us. Do you really want to go targeting everyone, or do you want to specify what your target audience is going to be like? So you look at your solutions, you look at yourself, you start making yourself different from the others, make yourself unique, and then you have your own target audience for it, not the whole lot of it. So how do you go about creating value propositions? When I was thinking about it, I said, what did I really do for that value proposition? So I said, therefore this thing came in that you socho, samjo, and then karo. You think about it, understand it, and then start doing it. So that's when you start creating value. If you just start doing work, email aake response de diya, then that's not going to create value. Walt Disney has been saying this, the way to start is to quit talking and to begin doing. And I've seen so many times people keep discussing. Pata nahi kitne meetings hote hain just to do work. Of course, it's required. I'm not saying no to it. But yeah, you need to start doing work also. So when you start saying value proposition karna, it's not someone else who's going to do it for you. You yourself will have to start doing the value proposition for your customers, clients, other stakeholders. And don't restrict. So when we discuss ahead, we're not restricting to just a direct deliverable to whom it's going to. That's not your only stakeholder that you need to look at. When you talk of value creation, it's the entire ecosystem, which is very important. So, kaise karna chahiye? I mean, what is it that we really need to do when you're doing value proposition? And I came across this person saying, and all of this is Google taken, stop worrying about your competition. Focus on increasing your value proposition. I mean, generally I've seen, and in practice also we've seen, we try to see, usko target karte hai, his client we'll try targeting, or we try to take something which is someone else's, or we try and copy what the competition is doing. Not required. There's enough and plenty around. We need to see what is our value proposition, what is our strengths, and what is our target audience. And once you have value proposition, clients will come to you. Very clearly, clients will come to you. So what I started doing is, and I can give you examples of it. First is you start creating a niche. Like I said, you need to have a target audience. So therefore, my focus is financial services. I started looking at financial services. And just to give an example, when I'm looking at foreign portfolio investors, I think most people would know FIIs, foreign institutional investors, which are now foreign portfolio investors. They invest in the stock market, and they buy shares up and down. And we just saw in the budget it came in, the economic indicators also showed that 2 years back they had withdrawn money, our markets didn't increase so much. Now they have put in money and our markets rose. So they are quite crucial to our stock market. But when you start looking at tax services for them, initially when it came to it, we said, "Arey, kuch nahi karna hai, calculation karna hai, capital gains working karna hai," which is so routine, which can be done. And only thing is when the volume increase, physically you could not do, so you need to have a software for it. Now in tax, when is it that we really thought about having a software to do calculations? So that's the first thing that we had to adapt mindset to say that, okay, let's do something, start preparing business rules so that you can have a technology-based solution to clients. And this was done long back, not now. When now everyone speaks of tech and all that, this was done long back just so that we are accurate in the calculations, and then we are accurate in what we're doing and faster. Because earlier, whoever's been with the stock market would have known settlement was long. So we could give calculations and all that settlement could happen. Then it became T+2. Everything was required in 2 days' time. And with so much of volume which was there, which we are trying to build it, we would not be able to provide. How many people, kitne log rakhenge aur kaise calculation karenge, kaise check karenge? So software was something that had to be adopted. Then we thought of how do we increase our pie? So when we have certain things and we know the knowledge of FIS, and it's not so easy. They think it's just routine calculation karte jao and you get the tax liabilities. There are a lot of nuances to it. There are a lot of corporate actions which come in. There are a lot of positions that have to be taken. So when we started looking at things, we realized that it's just not plain vanilla calculations that are being done, but there's application of mind. Then you start taking the technical expertise to it. If you can interpret something differently and that's going to benefit your clients, law set off kar sakte, nahi kar sakte, against what do you set off, what is long term, what is short term, that's when you start discussing it. Then what we did is I realized that we connect with the clients, but there's something as an ecosystem which is there, brokers, custodians, banks in India, which also cater to FPIs and FIs. So why not reach out to the entire ecosystem to see how we can increase our client base? Go to global custodians are there. You have global custodians and you have local custodians, you have brokers. So we looked at all of that to see how do we work along with them. One, for India, to attract investment into India. And of course, then something will come to us for us to provide services to them. So we identified the gap. Then we had solutions for it. We started doing mailing to provide clarifications on what is tax, regulations. Regulation, something which I had never done earlier. In Ferguson's, when I was there, we used to do pure tax and just tax and assessments, appeals and ITAT and all of that on daily basis. But regulation was something which was never touched upon. When I started with FPIs, I realized that a tax had a regulation had a lot of consequences on tax being a financial services. So that's when we started seeing how we can assist clients with getting their regulatory approvals also for registering as an FPI, and then seeing what the regulations say. So that's another aspect when you're looking at something that's a value add that you're giving to our clients. It's not only the tax calculation, even the regulatory approvals which were there required, any clarification that they required from regulators. So we started discussing with regulators on client matters. Then what we saw is this, like we said, technology innovative solutions there. How does the investment come into India? Do you come directly into India from wherever your funds are located? Or do you use some intermediate holding companies? Of course, GAR wasn't there at that point of time. MLI wasn't there. Treaty abuse. We had Supreme Court, which was there. So there were a lot of things and it's evolved. Same thing can't stand. So what we advised them 20 years back cannot be true now. Now you need to look at it differently. But yes, every regulation change you have to keep updated. Keep your clients aware of it. Brand and eminence. What we realize is whatever work we're doing here, we need to make that aware. So at least the target audience should be aware that this is what our expertise is. So you need to have the brand and eminence. There's an old sort of a joke. I don't know, maybe I've said it before also. That if you're in a dark room and if you wink to a lady, no one knows about it. It's like that. If you're doing work and you don't show your eminence of brand about it, no one knows about it. There will be a few communities who will know, but not larger audience. So you need to bring your brand and eminence together. And then, of course, you have to be a trusted advisor. Clients should trust you. Regulators, tax authorities should trust you. You're doing something which is within law, interpreting law, finding out something. There will be litigation. So whatever interpretations have, we've got special bench decisions coming out for us. So it's not that litigation is not going to be there, but you have to become a trusted advisor to a client. They need to trust you completely, that you think from their perspective and not from your own perspective. That's very essential whenever you're doing a professional services. So this is something that we went about doing. So kaise karna chahe, we looked at what the technical expertise are required. What are the gaps in the ecosystem where we can, come in and bridge those gaps? Innovative solutions to it. Eminence building, regular emails, regular contacts, mailers, vejo. Now the social media is so much there. You build your brand and eminence, and then you have to be a trusted advisor. That's how success will come in. So this is the value proposition for one of the aspects that we did. Common errors which are there. I mean, whenever we speak, when we're delivering value propositions, we should not do certain things. Though, I mean, sometimes naturally ho jata hai, that's a different thing. But we try consciously not doing something like that. I'm trying to play a video again. I hope it works. This is a little hard video, but it's very funny. And actually, it gives the message so clearly out. Okay, when you're discussing your value proposition, don't say it in the terms that people don't understand. You got to say it in some terms which is clearly understandable to people around you. So I don't know whether this works, but let me try.
Hey Rajat, it's Friday night. Everyone has left. तुम्हें घर नहीं जाना है? यार जाना तो था. In fact, I was just the carbon.
Can you all see the video?
No, ma'am, only audio is there.
I've got
You can't see the video?
for a business.
No, ma'am.
Signing.
How do I show that?
I've developed a
Ma'am,
chemical.
you can share your window instead of screen.
Sorry?
You can stop sharing and reshare your window and not just the screen.
Window. Okay. How do I do that?
Stop sharing.
That stop sharing button is only not to be seen. Sorry. This is one thing which I want to learn and become a technical expert. Someone has done it for me. Very nice. Now I have to share the window. Can you see this now? You can see the video? Okay, so I'll just play that now.
Hey, I've got a great idea for a business. That's exciting. Tell me about it. I've developed a chemical isomer that links to volatile organic compounds causing carbon bonds to rupture and wraps them in a nanotube coating. That's a little confusing. Can you dumb it down for me? Sure. What I do is I take a proprietary isomer that I developed with a picric acid wash that hollows out the carbon bonds and replaces them with a nanotube wrapping. Okay, so I guess it's pretty technical. Oh, yeah. I've been working on this isomer for 9 years. So what's the business idea? To sell it. To who? Everybody will want one. What for? So they can wrap their volatile organic compounds in carbon nanotubes. I think you might need a target customer. I don't think I need to wrap my compounds in your nanotube. Well, maybe not you. So, for people who buy it, what's the value you are providing them? I've developed a chemical isomer that links to volatile organic compounds causing carbon bonds to rupture and wraps them in a nanotube coating. You've said that already. This is getting annoying. Why should anyone care about your isomer? I spent 9 years on this. I know that. Okay, pretend I'm an investor. How can I make money off your product? By selling it. You're a smart guy, but try not to think like a scientist. Think like a business person. Okay. Value chain. Term sheet. I have to go now and answer that. That's not your phone. I know.
So you saw? Sorry. Sorry, I can't share it again. I don't know what's gone wrong. How do I stop share this? Sorry.
Ma'am, you had started sharing. Now you have stopped.
Yeah. Is it there?
Now it's there.
Okay. So you saw this, the scientist he's put in 9 years developing some isomer or whatever it is, which he wants to now capitalize and sell. So he thought he's put in 9 years, there's a value which he's getting to something, but the outside person doesn't realize it at all. So whenever you do something and your value proposition, it should be in such a manner that the opposite person should realize the value for it. You may have put in a lot of efforts, and that happens so many times. It happens that we work on a particular thing and it may fail. It doesn't go through. There is nothing that comes out of it. We may not get revenues for it. But that doesn't mean that it's a value proposition which you're giving, unless you can bring out the value for the person who's going to purchase the same from us. So that is the reason when you articulate a value proposition, you articulate in such a manner that the other party realizes what the value is. Sometimes you don't need to articulate. All this articulation happens when it's a product. But when it's a service, it should come naturally to you. So it's not necessarily you should articulate, but at least you need to bring out, okay, what your value propositions are. So if you're doing a particular direct tax, like give an example of it, I'm doing direct tax services for financial services. When I look at a particular query which comes to me, and it's assuming I don't look at FEMA, I don't look at indirect tax, I don't look at transfer pricing, just give my view to it. That's not a value proposition. That's just giving a response to it. It may not even work for him because the indirect tax partner must have said something else, a very different sort of a view on it, or a transfer pricing would have said something else. So whenever you're going to give a value proposition, it's for you to see that what's other laws, other regulations, what is the impact on it, and then give your view to it. So that's value prop. So you need to articulate in such a manner that the person who's going to take it from you realizes the value that you're giving to him, and not just some service. Things to avoid: don't sell. I think this comes so naturally because we've always been seeing products and sales and advertisements. You used to have pharmaceutical salespersons coming over. We are not in that category. We are doing professional services. We should not sell something. Just because I have some product with me or I have some service or solution, I don't take that to the clients. I try to find out what is the client's needs, what are their requirements, what is it that they're doing, and then discuss. Of course, sometimes it so happens that they may not be aware that the solution is there. So you need to showcase your solution to them, but you don't need to sell that. That is my view. So we don't sell things, we provide solutions to clients. Confidentially articulate your idea. I think sometimes I've seen we are a little hesitant. Pata nahi. Maybe it's inborn DNA, the way we are. हम लोग पूरे time accounts करते रहते हैं, number crunching, and we are with the books and sheets and everything. Our articulation is not so confident. We should be confident in what we are doing. We should have confidence in our service that you're going to provide, in the value that service is going to give to the clients, and you should articulate also in that manner. Don't be shy about your services. Don't take a back foot to it. Come forward and discuss your art. And I can tell you something, maybe our times is different. The younger generation is very confident, extremely confident chartered accountant. I'm very happy to see that. Very happy to see that. Have an idea when to stop. I think this also is very crucial. Sometimes we rattle away so much, not realizing that our rattling is not helping us at all. Maybe that's because of confidence, maybe because we're not prepared for it. Sometimes we go for meetings unprepared. That could be the reason for it, but we need to know when we need to stop doing something. We may think it's a value, actually it's not a value. So it's essential to understand that when is it that we need to stop something which is not to be done. What holds true for one does not hold true for others. And I've seen this, कितनी बार होता है कि एक very nice idea solution has come to us and we take it to a particular client and he's very appreciative of it. And lo, ho gaya. Then we started making it as a product. Pyaz, onion jaise ho jata hai, wo solution. When it was actually the first solution, it was like, wow. And then we make it into a commoditized product. It may not suit all clients. So we need to know कि अगर वो किया है for one particular client, there could be a reason why it's been done in that manner. For another client, maybe similar, it could be there, but it can't be same. Every client's facts could be different. Then to adopt that facts to him could be different. So we need to be very clear on that as to what we've done for one particular client. It could happen that we could use it for the others also. And if it's volume transactions, if it's like same sort of a structure, it could happen. But sometimes the facts could be different. So it's very essential we look at the facts and then take a solution. Don't make it commodity. If it's a solution, it's a solution for particular clients. So try keeping that way. Value bhi acha milta hai then. You make it a commodity, value will reduce. Do not focus only on the job at hand. And I think I said this earlier. We shouldn't become so myopic that only your question has come to us, we respond to that. We don't look at things surrounding it, the whole ecosystem which is there, and how it could have implications. To give an impact. So I've already said about direct and indirect transfer pricing. That's very routinely done. I started doing FATCA CRS. And when it came initially in 15, we didn't expect it to be even coming within law, except for one public sector bank who said it will. And FATCA CRS is US law when it started off, and then it became OECD statement and agreements and all that got signed. And now it's Indian law, rules have been framed and guidances are there, and Indian financial institutions are reporting. Now, when you look at FATCA CRS reporting, it is basically for financial institutional report. So when we started services and all the discussions, we were looking at financial institutions and how they are reporting. And what could be the consequence of that reporting? That also is very important. एक report कर दिया account, NRI account or non-resident account, we reported. So what? How? First, of course, the due diligence process to report is very important. So that's a value proposition that we had given. How you do due diligence, whether you can do logics for it, can you automate it? So all that discussion did happen. Technology was used again over here. Very clearly, because it's volume. Wherever volumes are there, you need to use technology. So technology was used. We gave business rules to institutions. We did the whole thing on that so that reporting can be coming out. We're still working on it. It's still not up to mark where it should be. Institutions are working on it. But what we started looking at is not just that job on hand, what implications it could have for the other things, plus what implications it can have for our institution. Because it's reporting to overseas countries. We don't know what they are going to come back with, what questions they are going to ask for it. So then we started working more deeper to say, how do we do this so that in future when questions come, let's be ready for it. So we started looking at some things which are not even there to see how we could work on it. Everyone doesn't adopt because कहीं पे भी technology change करना हो तो पैसा बहुत लगता है. So some adopted it, some are still in the process of adopting it. Discussions happening, some do it manually, some do it by technology. But what the main purpose was that it was just not pure reporting that we looked at. We looked at much more than just the reporting which was required under the Section 285BA or Form 61B. But usi ko agar hum dekhte as an income tax that, oh, we need to report, then that would not have done the entire value chain that we did. We worked with tech people, we worked with operations, we worked with risk. All of that, tax services, de rahe the, and we are looking at all of it. So that's something which is very crucial whenever you look at value proposition. Don't just look at the job at hand, see a much larger picture of it. Don't propose all value propositions simultaneously. And this does happen because what happens is we have so much in our mind and we are so keen and eager that, ye bhi karo, wo bhi karo, ye bhi karo. Do all of this together. It doesn't work. You need to do it in a phased manner so that the other person also realizes, because certain things are much more wider implications than just pure thing that they've asked for. There are different stakeholders and different approvals required. There could be different departments within the organization which are there. So don't do everything simultaneously. You can, of course, give a summary to the person to say, you may have to look at all this, but do it in a phased manner so that it's easier implementable. Because I've seen sometimes, itna kuch hota hai, and we tried doing everything together and it's like messed. Even ourselves, we do it. Like today morning, I was having a problem. So it does happen that when we do certain value propositions or when we're talking about certain solutions, we look at it in such a manner that we can split that solution in such a manner it's implementable and it's easy to understand. Don't make a mixture of it, though all of it was required. I'm not saying it's not required. All of it could be required. All of it will give the full picture for it, but do it in a phased manner. Don't give everything and don't do it everything simultaneously. Summary. We are chartered accountants, we have to be technically strong. That's one thing which is given. If we are chartered, we need to read, we need to interpret, we need to have a position, we need to have our own view. Litigation ho sakta hai. Department can challenge it. They may not accept it, not agree to it. We need to make submissions for it. It will go up to ITAT, it's High Court, Supreme Court, bound to be there. But we should be in such a manner that we are technically strong on the subject that we want to be known for. Because if we are technically strong, then people will start trusting us and respecting us for it. It's not that we need to know everything. Sometimes there could be difference of opinion. Sometimes we could be not coming up to that. We have support systems. We need to check with councils. We need to take opinions of experts. There could be certain things which are not, it's new. It's absolutely new subject, never been addressed before, no judicial precedents. So you need to interpret, then you need to have your support for it, get council opinions for it, or another chartered accountant whom you can discuss with, bounce it around. But you need to become technically strong. Then you need to identify the gaps. Like I said, stakeholders within the FPR, we identified various stakeholders which could be not just our clients. In fact, का CRS, we identify the gaps which are there. अगर खाली reporting देखना था और ये details दो, then we looked at the entire value chain backward integration. Reporting से लेके पीछे क्या चलता है till the time where you go to the KYC and everything of that, seeing the systems, the forms, the processes, manuals, all of it. So we did complete that and forward also to say reporting के बाद क्या होने वाला है? What will be the queries which come up? What is the reporting or response that comes for the other countries? So you look backward, forward, both. You identify all the gaps to a particular solution, particular query, and then work on it. Provide solutions. You got to use technology. I think that is given now. Because technology-enabled solutions have come out to be much far superior. Not in all cases. I mean, when we are representing for CIT appeals, it is our human person. So human also is required, our mind is required, though I don't know, some people feel we're not required to use our minds much, but our mind is required and you need to provide solution, but technology does play a very important role. Let the world know you're there. And this, I think, has to be done in whatever fashion. Don't advertise. No way that you need to advertise about yourself, but let them know that you are aware of the technical capabilities which are there with you. Let people know around you, and then it's word of mouth. Most of the times I've seen it's word of mouth. It's just spreads around. Okay, one custodian will ask a question to you and you give a response to that. The other custodian already knows that she's given a response. So when they have a doubt, they come to us. One client is done, they refer clients to us. So I've seen word of mouth and referral really works hard. Most of the times you get referral works coming in from clients. Give value and build trust. I think that's the most important. We should give value for whatever work we're doing, not just a pure service. And you have to be trustworthy. They need to have full trust on you to say we could deliver when needed. And success then just follows for it. So thank you. Until we meet again. And hopefully, I think someday we'll meet more physically than just virtually. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This session has truly added value to our knowledge. We'll now wait if there are any questions from the audience. One of the question is while creating brand for ourselves, now in case of social media, how do we balance the negative comments that we face or the comparisons that are going on among the small size firms with the big four firms? So how to deal with that?
See, this is my personal view. Nothing to do with the firm that I come from. It's my personal view. And I'm not even authorized to speak on the firm behalf. So this is clearly my personal view on it. Social media, one, I'm not sure of how many types of social medias are around, and I'm not on all of them. But if there are negative comments to it, we should ignore. See, people have a right to speak. It is their view. We've already given our view. Let them give their view. We should not go contradicting some negative views to it. That's my personal view on it. Second thing on this, social media has nothing to do with firm, big and small. It's on your personality. So if there is some information that you want to share and you think it's going to be good to others, you can always share that information with others. If you're going through some sort of an event which is there and you want to share that on your social media, you should share that. It has nothing to do with a firm concept at all. It's individual. See, whenever social media has come, it should be individual that you should be doing it, not as a firm or not as a professional in that sense. But here you're trying to share knowledge. Something comes to your mind. So if I have read something on World Economic Forum, I like reading. I actually wouldn't mind attending also, but I like reading. So if I've read something, why not share it with people who are known to me? Because I've got some, whatever the connects are, they're all known to us. Why not share it on that connect? Let them also read up to it. So if you're sharing knowledge, I don't think there should be much such an issue. But otherwise, I don't know. I mean, otherwise, this is not a firm response on it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time. We now end the first session, and it's my privilege to propose a formal vote of thanks. On behalf of Women and Young Members Excellence Committee, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to ma'am for having accepted our invitation and sharing valuable knowledge and time with us today. Thank you so much, ma'am. And I'm sure because just a drop of ocean in the knowledge that you carry for with your experience of over 27 years in this profession. So we'll be glad to have you again on this forum. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity.
We now move on to the second session for the day, which is on section 43B, what's new and its impact on MSME payments. Our second speaker for the day is CA Rupal Haria, ma'am. I will begin with an introduction of the speaker. CA Rupal Haria is a partner in Atul C. Bheda and Company. She has been practicing for over 2 corporate taxation and auditing. She has conducted comprehensive audits for companies, ensuring compliance with regulatory standards and best practices. She is guiding organizations in streamlining their finance processes, optimizing resource allocation, and improving financial performance. She has grown account and taxation teams within various organizations and fostered their growth and equipped them with skills needed for achieving organizational goals. We are glad to have you here, ma'am. She is also a co-founder of EdTech Center, which is into imparting training to students, accountants, professionals, and corporates. She is also a trainer and speaker in various CA forums. She is a trainer to Faculty Development Program of ICAI and has also trained more than 300 income tax officers in T3 training program of Income Tax Department. She is also a special invitee to Women and Young Members Excellence Committee of ICAI, and she gives online training to Writer Corporation employees also. Thank you for accepting our invitation and being here today, ma'am. Over to you. You're on mute, ma'am.
Thank you, Amisha, for such a lovely, kind words for me. And I humbly thank CA Preeti Savla ma'am, CA Abhay Chajar sir, for giving me this opportunity to share knowledge with the members. So quickly, there are so many things I would like to share with you today. So straight away, we are coming to our today's topic. So I will just share my PPT and then we will start with our today's topic. So this screen is visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. See, now today we are, many of you or all of you might have heard about that MSME payment and the new clause which has been inserted in section 43B H. Okay. Unlike my other PPTs, those who have attended my lectures earlier, I like to have a pictorial presentation and then I talk more. But today I have given here more content, maybe in the precise manner. Today my talk will be, it will be interplay between section 43B and MSME payment. So for MSME payment, whatever act section 15, section 16 and 2 subsection B will be applicable, we will be talking about it. Okay. So now what is hot discussion about it? Today also there are many seminars which are conducted at the in big auditorium also, because the year ending is coming closer. Okay. So MSME. So what is the full form of MSME? MSME, please note here, micro, small, medium enterprises. It is M. First M stands for micro and not medium. Okay. So quickly we will first have a glimpse. We will understand that who are covered under MSME Development Act 2006. So what are the limit criteria given for that? So for if you are registering under micro category, then investment in plant and machinery and equipment does not, this is the revised limit, and what is till today's date, this limit is applicable, that does not exceed rupees 1 crore and turnover does not exceed rupees 5 crore. Now here the word is used and not o or. So both limit one has to see together, plant and machinery as well as turnover. Okay. Then coming to small category, that plant and machinery investment does not exceed 10 crore rupees and turnover does not exceed 50 crore. And for medium category, plant and machinery and equipment category is 50 crore and your turnover is 250 crore. So here, when I'm satisfying this, my entity, organization, company, and I register myself with MSME, okay? So this is what you should keep it in your mind. MSME who are covered under it, who are fulfilling these two conditions, and they have registered them with MSME registration. Okay. Now, first I will throw light on section 43B. Then I will come to newly inserted section 43B, that is a H. Okay. And today we will be learning more about the interplay between MSME payment, interest payment, due dates for the payment, and newly inserted section 43BH. First of all, section 43B, it is related to, if you will see the second para of the screen of the slide, I have given here the word of the act. So let me read it quickly. Section 43B is related to the head of income from business and profession. It states some statutory expenses that can be claimed as deduction from the business income only in the year of actual payment, irrespective of the year of accrual of its liability. So please underline word here, actual payment. What is important to understand actual payment? Okay. Now, what are these type of the statutory expenses? Here in the first para, we can see it includes GST, custom duty, bonus, PF, ESIC payment, payment to railway. So these all are statutory payment. And these deduction, it is eligible when it is actually paid. But here, one other thing you have to read along with this. Here it says that irrespective of the year of accrual of its liability. Okay. But now here in section 43B1, one relaxation was given whenever such type of expenses are due. But if assessee is paying it before the due date of filing of income tax return, that is given under section 139(1). So now we have to read it with 43B, which is related to statutory payment. Actual payment should be there, but the one condition, the relaxed mode was given, time period to make the payment, it was given that if you make the payment which falls under section 43B before the due date of filing of income tax return, then those expenses will not be disallowed under section 43B. I hope this is clear. Okay. So next, now coming to newly inserted clause H to section 43B. Now we are in month of February. Now my dear friends, tell me that whether it is introduced in January 24 or Feb first week of 24. No, it was introduced under socio-economic welfare measures in Finance Act 2023. Today we are cracking and trying to understand Finance Act 2024. But this clause was already inserted in Finance Act 2023 and with effect from 1st April 23. So what does it mean? With effect from financial year 23-24. So it is applicable to assessment year 24-25. And now we are on the verge of completion of financial year 23-24. So all the organizations, companies, business organization, now they are coming up which type of expenses which will be disallowed, which type of purchase will be added back to my computation of income, what amount of tax I have to pay, how my tax liability will increase. But again, I'm repeating, it was introduced in Finance Act 2023. So this is 43BH. It is a Income Tax Act 1961. This is to get that MSME should get timely payment. They should not have crunches of working capital. So liquidity of working capital. Okay. So with that intention, 43BH was introduced. Now let's see what 43BH is talking about. Just we will read it and then I will make you understand in very simple language. Okay. So section 43BH. Any sum payable by the assessee to a micro or small enterprises. Just you read with me carefully, micro or small enterprise. When we are we are talking about MSME, then we are always talking micro, small and medium enterprise. But which word is missing here, my dear friends? Medium. So it is not, 43BH is not applicable to medium enterprises. It is only and only applicable today when it was introduced, micro or small enterprises. Okay. So beyond the time limit specified in section 15 of the MSMED Enterprises Development Act 2006. So when there is a no amendment in this act since 2006. So section 15 of MSME Act has given the specified due date by which the vendor who has purchased goods from the MSME registered supplier have to make payment for that goods or services purchase. Okay. Shall be allowed irrespective of the previous year in which the liability to pay such sum was incurred by the assessee according to the method of accounting regularly employed by him. See, section 28 business income, we are talking about Income Tax Act. Only in computing the income referred to in section 28 of that previous year in which such sum is actually paid by him. So here again, what is underlining word? Actually paid by him. So this is the wording of the clause H. Now just understand it with the simpler and plain term. Okay. A person has to pay to his supplier. Supplier means supplier registered under MSME within the time limit specified in section 15 of MSMED Act 2006. In the next slide, I have taken section 15 also. Okay. So please, if that query is coming to your mind, what is there in section 15, just park it for a few minutes. We will be understanding section 15 of MSMED Act also. Now, if he fails to pay to the supplier within this time limit, then the same purchase can be allowed only in the scenario if it is paid before the end of the financial year. Just underline the word before the end of the financial year. Okay. If not paid before the end of the financial year and the time limit specified in Section 15 of MSMED Act 2006, the payable amount will be added to the taxable income of the financial year. Deduction will be allowed in subsequent financial year when payment is done. So let's take one example. Okay. See, ABC and Company is a partnership firm. They are covered under tax audit. So due date of filing of their income tax return for 24-25 assessment year is 30th September 2024. Okay. See, now this we are just understanding simple clause 43BH. Now ABC and Company have purchased goods worth of rupees 50 lakhs rupees from XYZ and Company, who is registered under MSMED Act. Okay. Now, the 50 lakhs worth goods they have purchased as per the time limit given, due date assuming to be Section 15 due date is already passed, then they have to pay that 50 lakh rupees before the end of the financial year. Means by 31st March 2024, they have to pay. Now, ABC Limited is not able to make the payment. They are making payment on 30th June 2024. So, while calculating their income, say total taxable income comes to 50 lakhs rupees, 60 lakhs rupees. Okay. And these 50 lakhs rupees, which purchase they have done from MSMED registered XYZ and Company, they have not paid to them before the end of the financial year. That 50 lakhs rupees will be added to the taxable income of assessment year 24-25. So 60 lakhs already taxable income they have calculated, ABC and Company, plus 50 lakhs. So total 1 crore 10 lakh rupees, ABC and Company will be paying tax on that 1 crore and 10 lakh rupees. Okay, this is the one thing what Section 43BH is saying, that you should pay before the due date or before the end of the financial year. Okay, the payable amount will be added to the taxable income. Now you understood this. So 43BH is saying that what 43B1 was giving relaxation, that you have a time for making that statutory payment till the due date of filing your income tax return. But if 43BH is applicable to you, you have purchased from MSME registered supplier, then that due date of filing income tax return will not be applicable to you. What will be applicable? Section 43BH will be applicable to you. And you have to make payment on the accrual basis or due basis within and between the before the end of the financial year. Okay. So now this is what 43BH says. I have taken case study, but before going to the case study, we will just understand Section 15 of MSMED Act. Okay. So delayed payment. So this Section 15 of MSMED Act since 2006, the clause is there. They are protecting micro small enterprises. So they should not have crunch of working capital. They get the timely payment. So what is Section 15 of MSME Act? Liability of buyer to make the payment. Where any supplier registered under MSME supplies any goods or render any services to any buyer, okay, to any buyer, the buyer shall make payment thereof on or before the date agreed upon between him and the supplier in writing, or where there is no agreement in this behalf before the appointed day. Okay. So now you must be wondering, what is this appointed day? We will learn about this also. But now first part, when there is a written contractual agreement between the buyer and registered MSME supplier. Okay. Then in that agreement, due date for making the payment is already mentioned. So within that due date, buyer has to make the payment. Okay. But now, when I will take that table, I will throw more light on it. Okay. So what is first condition? Whenever there is a contractual written agreement, then as per the date mentioned in the agreement, payment will be done. Okay. Now, if the payments are not agreed in writing, just 1 minute, I'll plug in the okay. But when there is no written or contractual agreement, then what comes in the picture? Appointed date. So appointed day shall be the due date for making the payment. So here you have learned the two things as per section 15. There can be a contractual agreement, written agreement, or there cannot be agreement. So provided that in no case the period agreed upon between the supplier and buyer in writing shall exceed 45 days from the day of acceptance or deemed acceptance. So what does it mean? Deemed and acceptance means either the delivery of the goods is received or services has been enjoyed by the buyer, or it will be deemed accepted of the goods and services. So let's take again the same example, ABC and Company and XYZ and Company. Now ABC and Company is a buyer, XYZ and Company is a supplier. Now they have entered into agreement on 1st January, and then XYZ and Company say, okay, I will give you good deal. You can make me payment within 120 days. Now you read the section 15, what it says, provided that in no case the period agreed upon between the supplier and the buyer in writing shall exceed 45 days from the day of acceptance or the day of deemed acceptance. So what does it mean? Even though 120 days agreed between ABC and Company and XYZ and Company for payment, but section 15 of MSME said that in no case, whatever agreement have been entered between buyer and supplier, the payment due date should not exceed 45 days from the date of acceptance of or deemed acceptance of goods and services. So understood? So irrespective of more than 45 days, whatever agreement may, if the date has been mentioned, but the due date as per the section 15 of MSME Act will be calculated from the date of invoice till 45 days. Clear, everyone? I hope. So this is what section 15 says. Okay. Now, what is appointed day? See, here I have used the word appointed day. When appointed day comes in the picture, when there is no contractual agreement. So let's understand, if there is no contractual agreement, then what will be the due date? Section 2B of MSME Act. Appointed day means the day following immediately after the expiry of the period of 15 days from the day of acceptance or the day of deemed acceptance of any goods or services by a buyer from a registered MSME supplier. So for example, on 1st January, in goods was that acceptance was there. Goods was supplied by XYZ and Limited to ABC and Company. So there was no written contractual agreement. So 1st January to 15th January, as per the appointed day, which is given under MSME Act Section 2B, after 15th January, 16th day. So your appointed day will be 16th January. So due date will be 15th, after 15th January, only 15 days period will be allowed to the supplier for making the payment. Okay. If the payment terms are not agreed in writing, the appointed day shall be the due date for the payment. Simple. Even if the payment terms are agreed in writing, it shall not exceed 45 days from the date of acceptance or deemed acceptance. So what is the crux of these two sections? If there is an agreement, then 45 days will be the allowable days for making the payment. And if there is no agreement, then 15 days will be the due date. After 15 days will be the allowable credit period. So I hope 43BH, Section 15, MSME Act, and Section 2B is clear with you all. With that understanding, we are moving further. Now coming into the pictures, if payment is not done within the due date, then what is the provision? Okay, then if the payment is not done within the due date, then comes in the picture Section 16 of MSME Act. Interest on delayed payment to MSME by the buyer. So now there is a buyer's liability if he fails to make payment as required under Section 15. The buyer is liable to pay compound interest to the supplier. So let's understand this. Section 16. Okay. So it is talking about the interest payment. Buyer's liability to make payment as per the Section 15. If he fails to do so, then on the delayed payment, so your delayed payment date will be calculated after the expiry of the due date. The compound interest at the rate notified by the RBI multiplied by the 3 times. So compound interest will be applicable, rate of interest which is notified by the RBI, and 3 times the notified rate by RBI. So that much interest buyer has to pay. And the beautiful part of it has been given, you will not even get the deduction of this interest also while filing your income tax return. So Section 16 is about the interest payment, 15 is about the due date. Okay. So now let's understand the various situation and what will be the outcome of it. So first, payment to micro and small enterprises. So again, I am repetitively saying, my friends, this 43BH newly inserted clause, it is not applicable to medium enterprises, even though they are registered under MSMED. Only to micro and small enterprise it is applicable. So first scenario, if agreement is not made, then what? If agreement is not made, my screen is clearly visible. Can anyone give me hint?
It's visible, ma'am.
Okay. Now there are informations are there, no more information and boxes. So maybe the visible or not. That's why I was making it clear. See now, if agreement is not made, okay, then what should be clicked to your mind straight away? This thing. Agreement is not made, so you have to think appointed day. So within 15 days, okay, so that you should keep it in your mind. Okay, so payment should be made within 15 days. If payment is made within 15 days, it will be allowable as a deduction under Section 43B in the same financial year. Okay. Now, if payment is not made in 15 days, okay, but it is made before the last date of the financial year, okay, 15 days, say 1st January, one invoice was there, so due 15th January, 16th will be my appointed day, but payment was not made. But payment was made on 30th March 2024, which is before the last date of financial year. Then also it will be allowable as a deduction under Section 43. So first condition on the payment basis, then you have to see that what is the due date. Section 43BH says that your payment should be done If you have crossed the due date, that is 45 days or 15 days, whatever the case may be, but if you have made payment before the end of the financial year, then it will be allowable expenses for that particular financial year. So 15th January, I have to make the payment, but I have not done. So I have not made payment within due date. But then I have made payment of 50 lakh rupees on 30th January 30th March 2024. Then yes, no need to add to my taxable income that 50 lakh rupees. This will be allowable deduction 43BH. It is clear with everyone? Now coming to the scenario where the agreement is made. So I have already made you understand that if agreement is made beyond 45 days, nothing to do with it. Section 15 says of MSMED Act that even though the agreement days is more, up within 45 days, buyer should make payment to the supplier. So first, payment made after the due date of agreement, but it is not allowable if payment is made after the due date of agreement. And it is also not made by 31st March. So it will be not allowable expenditure and it has to be added to the total taxable income of that particular financial year. Similarly, here also, it is not made within 15 days, not made before the last date of the financial year, then it will be simply added to the total income of the financial year. Okay, so within due date, you have not made payment. You have not made payment before the end of the financial year. Here, see, it is applicable from 1st April 23. So by 31st March 24 also, buyer has not made the payment, then it will be added to the total taxable income of the buyer. I hope this is clear with everyone. Okay. Then what? Payment made before the due date of the agreement, then not to worry. It is allowable simply under section 43. Now, second situation, payment made after the due date, but before 31st March 2024. Yes, deduction under section 43BH will be allowed. Clear? So, two things we have to check. First, whether the payment has been made within the due date. Yes, no need to add deduction to your income. Just think about it. I am a partnership firm, I am a LLP or a company or proprietor. I am going in the bracket of 30% of the income tax. Now you will calculate it, then 30% by 30%, your tax liability will increase to 34BC, interest rate will increase. So one has to be very clear and cautious while dealing with MSME vendor. And you have to fulfill compliance on time, the due dates, which is given both under Income Tax Act as well as MSME Act. Okay. So now I have taken one example of it. So let's study those examples. This is clear, or should I increase the font size? Can anyone help me with this? Team, it is visible clearly, or should I increase the font size?
It's visible.
Okay, thank you. See now, for example, here the payment agreement dates has been given. Okay, invoice date. See, invoice date and payment agreement days are same. Okay, so 1st January, there is one invoice was raised, but there was no agreement. Okay, agreement was not there. So due date as per the agreement not applicable. But now section 2B of MSME will be applicable. So 15 days will be the due date for making the payment. So 15th January. Now, actual payment was done before the due date. Yes. So deduction will be allowable in which financial year? We have to find out. Deduction will be allowable in which financial year. Okay. So 23-24. Done. Now second scenario. Again, the invoice and payment is the same. No agreement. What is the difference here? Due date comes same, but the actual payment was done after due date, that is on 25th March. So now straight away you can't say that it will be disallowed. Now second 43BH, what it says, if it was not made within due date, but it was see, we have read 43BH. The wording of the 43BH says, though it was not made payment within due date, but it was made before the end of the financial year. So before 31st March or on 31st March payment is done. So deduction will be allowable in the financial year 23-24. Now third one is little different. Due date and payment agreement day, it is same, no agreement, not applicable. Now this is also same. But now the payment is even not made. Both conditions are not fulfilled. Within due date also not made, and by the end of the financial year 23-24 also not made. Now when it made on 10th April 24. So new financial year started. 24-25 financial year started, right? So now what the 43BH we have read, I'm just repeating and again for your reference purpose. The payment was made whenever in future payment will be done, deduction will be allowed. So here I'm just continuing with the same case study. For example, invoice amount 50 lakhs rupees hai. ABC and company is making payment on 10th April. So for 23-24 financial year, that is, they have to add that 50 lakh rupees to their total taxable income, and they have to pay tax for assessment year 24-25 on that 50 lakh rupees also. Now, while calculating total taxable income for financial year 24-25, that is assessment year 25-26 in future, they have made payment on 10th April. So they can claim 50 lakh rupees deduction in financial year 24-25. This is what 43BH mean. Okay. Now coming to the fourth scenario, 20th March is my date. There is again no agreement. So due date will be 3rd April. Okay. So again payment made before due date. So my deduction will be allowed in financial year 23-24. Now here the also see here just listen carefully. Payment is made before due date, but after the end of the financial year. Which condition is satisfied? Payment is made within due date. So deduction will be allowed in the year itself 23-24. See, please confuse mat hona. This is the new thing we are learning, my dear friends. कि एक बार बोलते हो before end of the financial year payment कर दो. Now after financial year payment कर दिया है, then also it is allowed. What is it? This is what section says, my dear friends, and we have to guide our client also same way. So 3rd April was the due date, but payment made after end of the financial year, but before the due date. So it will be allowed as a deduction under section 23-24. Now next, same 3rd April. Now due date also passed ho gaya and financial year ending date 31st March also passed. Payment made on 10th April. So now it will be added to the total income of 23-24 financial year, payment made in 24-25 financial year. So deduction will be allowed in the financial year 24-25, that is assessment year 25-26. Okay, till here we have seen the cases for no agreement. Now we are coming to the case study where the agreement has been made. So first of all, I'm coming to the 23 line number 23. Your invoice date and agreement date is 1st January 24. And buyer says, supplier says, मैं आपको 120 days का grace period दे रहा हूँ to make the payment. But now, please remember and recollect what section 15 of MSME Act says. Irrespective of whatever term agreed in the contractual agreement, payment to be done to the MSME supplier by the buyer within 45 days. So here my due date will be 1st January, say, see, this is 120 days. I have calculated due date as per the agreement. Okay. Now due date as per the MSMED Act, it is within 45 days. Okay. So from 1st January, we have to calculate 45 days. So your due date is 14th February 2024. I hope this is clear with everyone. Okay. Now, actual payment done by ABC and Company on 31st May 2024. So payment is done within due date. First question asks, my due date was 14th. No. Then whether payment was done by the end of the financial year, that is 31st March 24? No. It was made on 31st May 2024. So 50 lakhs rupees in this case study added to the total taxable income for financial year 23-24. Clear? Now I will take few more example. Now coming to this line number 11. Okay. Just read it, everyone. See now, invoice date is 1st January. Grace period was given 30 days. Now again, I'm telling that maximum 45 days will be allowed. But whenever in the agreement, the days have been agreed less than 45 days, then whatever is agreed in agreement, that will be the due date and for the payment as per MSMED Act as well as. That's why I took this first to make you understand. 120 days, which is more than 45 days. So here, as MSMED due date will be when 45 days will end. Now coming to my line number 11 case study here. In agreement itself, 30 days were agreed, which is less than 45 days. So due date as per agreement as well as due date as per MSMED Act will be same. So though वो agreement में 30 days किया है, but section 15 says no 45 days. So buyer cannot say that you allow me more 15 days. No, you have to take it same date as per the agreement as well as per the MSMED Act. Okay. So now 30th. Now when the actual payment is done, 25th. So before due date we have made the payment. So in 23-24 itself it will be allowed. Now we have made payment after due date in the second case study on 25th March. But we have made payment before the end of the financial year. So again in 23-24, deduction under section 43 BH will be allowed. Now third part. Payment was done on 10th April 2024. What was my due date? 30th Jan. Within due date? No. What is the end date? 31st March 24. By end of the financial year? No. So deduction will be allowed in 24-25 and for 23-24, addition will be done to my taxable income. So this addition is a really alarming point. Those who are dealing with the MSME supplier. Okay. So similar, it is the same case studies. This, I'm just completing my slide. And at the end, if time will permit, again, we will take remaining 3 case studies. Okay. So now I'm again coming to my PPT. So this what we have understand with the help of case studies. I hope that what I am trying to tell you, that what is important, it is understood by everyone. If you have any query, please kindly park it in the chat box, park it with you at the end of the session. In the Q, if the time will permit, Q&A, I will address to your queries. Now, interplay of Section 43BH of Income Tax Act 1961 and MSME payment. So here I have taken various FAQs. I have converted in the question form, so it will be easier for my dear friends, you all to understand. From which date is this provision applicable? It is applicable from financial year 23-24, that is 1st April 23 onwards. And from assessment year, you can say 24-25. Second question, to whom this provision is applicable? See, I'm repeating again because medium में उस medium को include नहीं किया है. This provision is applicable to all the assessee who are in the business and have purchased goods and services from any entity registered with MSME as micro or small enterprise. Now, one interesting fact I would like to share with you here. ABC and Company is a registered under micro category. XYZ and Company is registered under small category. Now, ABC and Company buying goods from XYZ and Company. Then ABC and Company can't say that to me 43BH, then Section 15 of MSMED Act, Section 16 will not be applicable because I have already registered under MSME Act. Nothing doing. When MSME registered assessee is also a buyer from another micro or small enterprise, whatever rule is applicable to the non-micro and small enterprise, it will be applicable to micro and small enterprise buyer also. The same rule will be applicable. Okay. What is the time limit in which payment is required to be made? The buyer shall make the payment for the supply. This we are repeating. So just we can skip this question. We have understood it. Quickly, you can read it. I'm giving you time. Please, participants, dear friends, quickly read it. Okay. Fourth, what are the consequences if payment is not made within the same limit? If it's not made, then deduction for such payment is not allowed. It will, for the said financial year, added back to the taxable income. And it is allowed only if the actual payment is made. Okay. In the subsequent financial year, we have seen in the case study, in 24-25, when payment was made, it will be allowed again. How could one identify if any buyer or seller is an MSME? See, you can note down in your book also or note. This is really, really important and more. This is very important in favor of buyer of the buyer. Okay. Get Udyam registration certificate from your supplier and verify same on MSME portal. Here I have given the link also, URL address I have given. So now, what is important here, question 5, this is really important. If ABC and Company, he says that I am registered under micro and small enterprise. Then XYZ and Company, he has purchased goods from him. Then he said that please provide me with the certificate, Udyam Aadhaar registration certificate. But ABC and Company is not having that certificate. Okay. Then if that certificate is not there, then all this 43BH, section 15 and 16 ka benefit also will not be available to ABC and Company. So for buyer now, what is more important? They should get certificate from their supplier who says they are registered under MSME. And another thing for MSME, it is also mentioned in the law, when they are raising the sales invoice, they have to mention their MSME registration, this Udyam registration number on the invoice. If it is not mentioned, buyer should get the certificate from them. They should verify it. See, like, like GST number also, find the taxpayer on the basis of the GST number. on gst.gov.in we can do. Similarly, here also, if you get the certificate number, you type, then there is one link given on this website. You will come to know whether this supplier is actually registered under Udyam registration or not. So if they have a valid registration number, valid certificate, then only all this section will be applicable. Otherwise, they will not get benefit of all this section 15, 16, 43BH. Okay. How should one maintain in books of accounts to comply with this provision? This is really interesting. Again, practical things I am discussing here. One should categorize. One should categorize means buyer, the supplier of goods and services into MSME in books of account, and get declaration in Udyam registration certificate from all the supplier. So this is what additional compliance after insertion of 43B clause H, because now they have to maintain separate, like when GST came, 2A, 2B credit also we maintain separately. Here also some separate creditors list we have to maintain. So that compliance part has increased on the part of the buyer. Now, newly inserted proviso H to section 43B is applicable to medium enterprises too? No, it is only applicable to small and micro enterprises, not medium enterprises. Is this amendment applicable to transaction on or after 1st April 23, or is it applicable to old outstanding transaction? See now, ABC and company purchasing from XYZ and company, XYZ MSME में registered है, balance sheet में 25 lakhs outstanding balance है, that ABC and company has to pay to XYZ and company. Now, this 43BH is applicable from 1st April 23. So, only it will be applicable payments made on or after 1st April 23. The old outstanding balances which are there in books of account up to 31st March 23. So in our example, 25 lakhs जो outstanding है, on that this provision is not applicable. Clear everyone? Now what is the benefit? Okay. Whether section 43BH will be applicable to retail and wholesale trade MSME. See, in my very first slide, we have seen in the tabular presentation, plant and machinery, equipments, and turnover. So MSME registration, previously who can get? Those who are in the manufacturing business. Okay. Then they have said that retailers, traders can also get the registration under MSME. But are you aware about it? However, the benefit to retail and wholesale trade MSMEs are restricted to priority sector lending only. So they get benefit of priority sector lending only. Other benefits which are available under MSME Act do not apply to the traders and retailers. Okay. So if other benefits are not applied to the traders and retailers who are registered under MSME, then the benefit of section 15 of MSMED Act and section 43BH of Income Tax Act will not be available to the traders and retailers who are registered under MSMED Act. This is also really important, because then those traders and they were assuming that we are also covered under this, and then it will be beneficial to us, but that clarity is there under section 43BH. Okay. If supplier is engaged in both, that is, see here I am telling that traders ko all these benefits are not applicable. Only they says that the priority sector lending, that benefit which is coming under MSME will be applicable to the trader and retailer who are registered under MSMED. Now they are combined. They are manufacturing also and trader also, retailer also. Then whether 43BH section 15 of MSMED Act will be applicable to me, then yes. In this situation, it will be applicable. They can claim benefit of section 43BH, okay, for the dues outstanding from to their supplier. So if it is combined and they are registered under MSMED Act, then 43BH will be applicable. They can get the benefit of 43BH. How year-end provision to be dealt with for disallowance under 43BH. So this is the how you will pass provision entry in your books. As per section 15 and section 2B of MSMED Act 2006, payment must be made either within 15 days or 45 days from the actual delivery of the goods or services. Hence, for any provision made for which actual delivery of goods or services does not take place till the end of the financial year, okay, no disallowance can be made under section 43BH. So what does it mean? See, what I told you, actual payment should be there by the end of the financial year, okay, but now by the end of the financial year, actual delivery of the goods and services is not done, and some provision I'm making in the books of account. Then in that scenario, since the actual delivery of the goods or services have not taken place, that disallowance cannot be made under section 43BH because I have made provision in my books of account and I have not made the payment. Clear, everyone? What are the compliance for MSME to claim the benefit of section 15 and 16 of MSMED Act? So this is the compliance part. Though you are under MSME registered, so straight away section 15 and 16 benefits are not available to you. You have to file and comply with the procedure given under the Act. You have to file memorandum with the authority, that is application on Udyam portal. Online आपको application करना है. So that memorandum you have to fill to claim the benefit of section 15 and section 16. Okay. So this is really important, that many times MSME are also micro small enterprises are unaware about this. They feel that yes, I am registered, I have Udyam Aadhaar registration certificate, I can very well take the benefit of section 15, 16. But here again compliance part is given under MSMED Act. They have to file and upload memorandum on the Udyam portal. Okay. Once this compliance is followed, it is completed, then only they can get the benefit of section 15 and 16. Now this is little bit twisted one. Here TDS is also there in the picture. So let's understand what is it. If buyer who has purchased goods or services from MSME registered supplier, okay, so now that 194Q buyer को applicable हो जाता है, goods or 10 crore वाला, 50 lakhs and above, all those conditions is given in 194Q. I'm not going in detail, please excuse me for that. 194Q, in short, when please I'm taking the same example, ABC and company purchase goods from XYZ and company, MSMED registered XYZ. Now, when the purchase have been done by ABC and company from XYZ and company, okay? So now on that purchase, 194Q is also triggered because all the parameters and condition which is given in 194Q, that is also applicable. Now, ABC and company, what he has done, he has not even deducted TDS under section 194Q, not make payment of TDS, and not even made the payment to XYZ and company by appointed day or by the end of the financial year. Then what? Then what means? Now both section here, what you can read on the screen in the first para, section 40AIA and 43BH, both are disallowance section. So now this case, disallowance we have to show in income tax return under 43BH or 40AIA. Just for your knowledge purpose, section 40AIA is a disallowance section when TDS is not deducted or not paid. Okay, so that part of the type of the expenses will be disallowed under section 40AIA. Okay, and this 43BH we are just talking it about since last 45-50 minutes. Payment is not made within due date and by the end of the financial year also. So again, it will be disallowed. So now how it is to be disclosed. So that clarity is also given to us. Disallowance will be under section 43BH. So when you are filing your ITR, you have to show it. A double disallowance also, no, it will be not there. Okay, one time 40 IA may be add karo and then add here in 43BH. No dear. It will be disallowed under section 43BH. Clear? Now reporting part. What chartered accountant has to keep it in your mind when you are preparing your tax audit report. See, when clause 26 of tax audit report form 3CD, whenever such TDS is not deducted, we have to give disclosure under clause 26, right? So now disallowance will be done for this non-deduction of TDS as well as non-payment under section 43BH. But disclosure, when you are preparing your tax audit report, it will be done in clause 26 of 3CD. I hope this was little twisted, but it is clear. If not, you can write it in the chat box. I can explain again. This is clear with everyone? Now, again, there is a one MSME reporting also in the 3CD text, 3CD may clause number 22. Amount of interest inadmissible under section 23 of MSMED Act 2006. So in section 16, we learned about how to calculate the interest. And section 23 MSMED Act says that interest which you are paying on late payment, that will be disallowed. So disallowed to hoga and disclosure will be in clause 22 of 3CD form. Okay. So this was all about MSMED interplay with section newly inserted 43B clause H. Okay. How many minutes are remaining? Can anyone tell me?
Ma'am, I think we have 5 more minutes for the question and answer session.
So can I complete that table meanwhile? There are any questions are there in the chat box?
Lot of questions, ma'am.
So can you make it common questions together so we can go to question answer session straight away?
Yeah, we shall. I guess we shall go ahead with the question answer session, and then maybe if we have time, you could take up the table again.
Thank you, Shilpa. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Shall I start with the questions?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. The first question here is, what if the vendor is not registered under MSME?
Then this clause will not be applicable to them. Vendor means here buyer or supplier, right?
Supplier, our creditor.
Yeah. Supplier is not registered MSMED Act, then nothing will be applicable here.
Okay. The next will be, what will be impact on professionals who are registered under MSME Act, like us?
Yeah.
Will there be any impact on audit and consultancy services where TDS gets evoked?
No. See, MSMED, I told you about the service, na? Only that benefit what we get when we are in the service. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. If a professional is registered under MSME Act, then what will be the impact on the TDS which is deducted under audit and consultancy fees?
I think the question is...
Apart from that, he also asks whether if there are any prior period items reported in tax audit report, will this 43BH have an impact on that also?
No, prior period item, see 43BH itself is applicable from 1st April 23. so that prior period item will not have any impact on it. Okay. And regarding that auditor, if they can ask it little bit, because I feel it is an incomplete part, I am not able to get the question. So those who have asked, they can write it again, then I will definitely reply for it.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is, you have mentioned there are two criteria for being classified as a MSE vendor. So the question is, are both the conditions for MSME category definition to be fulfilled simultaneously?
Yeah, plant and machinery and turnover.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
yeah, both you have to fulfill the simultaneously, not
It is
or.
not an either or.
Not either or. That I have told when I was explaining also. So both the conditions should be fulfilled. Okay.
Now, the participant has another question regarding that. What if the investment in machinery is 1 crore and turnover is 60 crores? Will the enterprise be classified as small or medium?
Turnover for the small is 50 crore, right?
50. Yeah.
No, turnover is 50 crore. And what he is saying that 60 crore, right?
60 crore turnover, investment 1 crore.
Plant and machinery equipment is 1 crore, right?
1 crore.
Yeah. And then for I can show that slide to them. 1 minute. Yeah. So now he's saying that turnover is 60 crore, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And investment in plant and machinery is
1 crore.
1 crore. Yeah. Then no,
that will be in medium, no, madam.
Yeah, it will. They have to go, but here then again they have to see that 250 crore will not come, na? That does not exceed wala criteria is given here, na? So the participant is saying that if the plant and machinery is what you said, can you repeat it again?
Investment in plant and machinery will be 1 crore.
So first condition is not fulfilled. First condition is not fulfilled for small, but for micro it is fulfilled. Okay.
And for turnover, it is 60 crores. So it goes to the medium criteria.
Yeah, but in the medium criteria, turnover criteria is 250 crore. So again, it is not fulfilled.
No, madam, it will be medium. No, it
will be medium. Sorry. So micro small will not come. It will come medium. And when it is medium, then all these 43 BH, 15, 16 MSMED Act will not be applicable.
Yes, ma'am. Shall I go to the next question, ma'am?
Yeah, sure. You see the time, and because I'm not aware about what the time limit is there, you can just quickly go through the question. If common questions are there, you can combine it.
I'm sign up. If material is purchased on 18th March 24, would be paid as per 43 BH of Income Tax 1961 or 15 of MSME Act 2006. I think it is already explained that you have to go by section 15 of MSME Act.
So first, see here, just I have to make you clear again because we are learning it for the first time. Lot many queries are there. So what I'm telling, first you have to fix whether agreement is made or not. Then second thing you have to see if the agreement is made. With no agreement, what will be the due date as per the MSMED Act? And then you have to see whether the payment is made within due date or before the end of the financial year. Okay. So that two things you have to see. And then on the basis of it, you have to determine whether it will be added to my income for that particular financial year or not. See, if you remember, I have taken one example. Due date was 5th April. I have made payment before the due date on 2nd April, but after the end of the financial year. Then also deduction will be allowed. So step by step, आपको देखना है. First of all, agreement is there or not. Secondly, what will be the due date as per the agreement if it is there? What will be the due date as per the MSMED Act? Then you come to the payment part, whether payment is done within the end of the financial year or within the due date. And then we have to decide whether it will be added in current financial year or next financial year. Right?
I hope it's clear. Is it sufficient that the auditee gives a management representation letter regarding list of MSME vendors in case of an audit case? or do we have to necessarily get third-party confirmation regarding MSME registration directly from the vendors?
So this is important in respect to the buyer, because first of all, buyer has to identify who are my MSME registered, micro and small enterprise registered. Then they have to work out that before 31st March or before due date, I have to make the payment to avoid those addition and disallowance of the purchase. Okay. So auditee respect, now coming to the audit respect, you have to get it from your client because you have to report in tax audit for when it comes in the clause MSME. But here you have to guide and give consultancy to your client who are purchasing goods and services from MSME registered supplier. That to avoid them, that deduction should not be there to save their tax liability. So first part comes here. Like we have done in the GST case, 2A, 2B, how the identification is done and all these things.
Madam, another question. Date of transaction is 25th March 24. No agreement is made. Payment is made on 9th April 24. Can we be eligible under 43B? Again, yes. The 15 days criteria.
Same. See, agreement is not made. So due date as per MSMED is 9th April. So within due date, you have made the payment. So after the end of the financial year, but within the due date of agreement, so it will be allowable and no addition to 23-24 income. So I think so same case study we have considered, but this is for the first time we are doing it, so many queries are coming.
Yes, ma'am. At the sake of repetition, again, there's a query, but I think we should take it that if a buyer is going beyond the time, the payment goes beyond the time limit, and that buyer does not hold an Udyam certificate, should we apply these conditions? I think it's already explained. No.
Buyer, no. Shilpa, kindly repeat the question. But kindly repeat the question, please.
If a MSC enterprise is not registered under MSMED Act, then also the provisions of 43BH is applicable to the buyer?
Simple, no. my dear friends, please keep it in your mind. All these are applicable if you are being a organization manufacturing, you are registered either as a small category or as a micro category. Okay, under MSMED Act 2006. Then only all these benefits will be available to you, and the vendor you are buying from your goods, they have to be careful about all these things. If you are not registered, then nothing will be applicable to you. Clear?
The section does not apply to traders, trade service creditors. To answer a question, ma'am, the next question is, the turnover of which year should be considered for applicability, for checking the applicability of MSC criteria?
So you have to consider for the previous year. And it is a dynamic because these new limits have come recently, it has come. So whenever you are guiding your client or yourself want to register, just go to the MSME website and find out the updated limit which has been given, and then you apply for Udyam Aadhaar
registration. Limit should be seen for which year, madam? For example, if we are going to finish the accounts of 24, so the turnover of 24 dekhna hai ki turnover of 23 dekhna hai?
So that is for application in the MSME Registration Act, na?
No.
For what you want to see the turnover, you want to apply for MSME or what? Where turnover will come in the picture?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have to directly go by the MSME registration.
So here I think so that question is coming in respect to if the entity wants to get MSME registration.
Correct.
Yeah, correct, na Silpa? Yeah.
Correct, ma'am. You're clear. Yeah. What if at the time of tax audit, say on 25th April, due date of payment is not passed? It is still there that due date of payment is there, and payment not made during 23-24 financial year. Whether we need to report this in audit report? Here in her case, the due date 45 days are not yet passed on the date of audit.
So you are doing audit on 25th April, right? You are preparing 3CD. If the utility have come on the portal, then I really appreciate that you are doing it fast. In that scenario, what will be, as an auditor, you will be telling to your client. If you have to tell them, you have to make the payment. Okay. So the Act says that 43BH ka jo whatever understanding we have done, right? But on 25th April, if you are signing tax audit report and that 45 days have not passed, okay? See, like bonus also it happens, na? We ask them that before filing of the income tax return, you make the payment when we sign. So here, there is a very thin line between determination whether it is to be added. You are not sure. You have to make it sure from your client whether they will make payment within the due date or not. See, 25th April को आपने tax audit report sign कर दिया, maybe 30th April आपका due date है. So whether he is going to make it or not, because as an auditor, when you are signing the tax audit report और बाद में payment नहीं किया, then what? That payment will be added in the next financial year. But as a what 43BH says, it is to be added in 23-24, for which you have already signed the audit report. So that liability will also come to the auditor also. So this type of the situation, when it comes, I will advise, even if my client, I will advise, okay, please kindly make the payment if the due date is coming within 5 days.
On a lighter note, I will file the tax audit report after a week.
So that's what, no? If they want to file it on 25th April, then you make the payment, or you just wait to pass the due date. Then you will come to know whether I have to add or I have to take it in the next financial year.
This is now
good
I have
question.
A good question.
I really appreciate participants have asked a tricky and good question. I hope you all have understood the explanation and all, and you have enjoyed it. You can write it in the chat box so Shilpa and Saurabh can help me with your feedback, because I can't see that chat box.
Ma'am, another interesting question.
Yes,
On the date of purchase, the supplier was registered under MSME Act. Later, he cancelled his MSME registration. So, on the date of event, now the date of event of 43BH applicability will be the date of purchase or date of payment?
See, date of जब उसने actual supply he has done, he was registered, and then he surrendered his registration. So if he is no more registered under micro small enterprise, why he will get benefit of all these things?
Same.
He will not get benefit of it, na? If you want to have the benefit of it, do not surrender it. Be under the category of micro and small. See, I have given you, it is a socio-economic welfare measures, that heading. It has been given by our dear FM madam while introducing it in Finance Act 2023. So just look the purpose behind introducing this section. So if you are not no more micro or small enterprise, then you will not get benefit of all these things.
I have a question. My question.
Please.
What about the consequences to these kind of payments when interest regarding payment of interest on delayed payments? The 6.75 is the prevailing rate. Into 3 times you have to pay that compounded rate.
It will be.
When does this payment get triggered?
It will be triggered when the due date will pass.
Is it an auto trigger, or if the buyer demands we pay?
No.
The supplier.
See, sir, buyer has to calculate on its own. See, it will be going parallelly with the due date of making the actual payment, principal payment of the goods. So
no,
once
you have, ma'am, if the supplier
so
is comfortable.
Due date will pass now. See, 15 days in the first case, and agreement case 45 days. So next day onwards, that interest liability will trigger.
I'm asking, this liability gets triggered. So when if my supplier doesn't ask me for the interest, do I pay? Do I make a book entry?
You have to make book entry, because if your tax audit is also applicable and all, we have to make all the disclosure on it. So your liability will trigger after the due date, and then you have to make provision of it. You have to make payment of it, but it will be disallowed.
Okay. Ma'am, what may be considered as an agreement in writing? Even a simple letter specifying the terms and conditions?
MOU. It's a way of working, Shilpa. See, contractual agreement where you will be mentioning their Udyam Radar registration number and all these things, some kind of the format you are preparing, and then you are making it agreement. So that is for making the payment. Contractual
even if on an invoice, even if on invoice it is written that payment should be made within 45 days.
No, it
Will
will
it
be
not
not
constitute
treated
an
as a contractual agreement because specifically they have told. Otherwise, they would have used the word invoice also added to that contractual agreement. Getting my point?
Ma'am, if on the date of purchase,
See,
the
Shilpa, just on invoice, they have to mention their Udyam Aadhaar registration number. So that on that basis, when I was telling that now we have to make the list of the, so you can find it out on the basis of invoice also. But it will be my advice that you please verify it on the website also, because it is a big amount of your purchase. You have to add back to your taxable income straight away. Uska 30% आपको payment करना है now.
Madam, if on the date of purchase, the supplier was a small enterprise and on the year-end date, it became a medium enterprise, then will 43 be applied to him?
See, when payment comes, that time what was it? The same, I think so, wo same scenario it is coming. He has surrendered the registration. Now no more micro small. See, it is not applicable to medium enterprise. So when it comes the payment pay, and now I'm under the medium category, my Udyam registration is under the category of medium, then you have to see the act word. It is said it is not applicable to medium enterprise, then it will not be applicable. They will not get that benefit of 45 days or 15 days and all.
Next question. What if one issues checks on 31st March 24 to avoid the implications of addition and then ask his supplier not to present this check for next 3 months?
Not to present check in 3 months. Actual payment word hai. See, I have if you now I have mentioned in my slides also. Just read the definition actual payment.
Actual payment.
Whether you will be treat it as an actual payment. No. Actual payment means what amount is debited from your bank account and it is credited to your supplier's account. Actual payment, what does it mean? It is a provisional payment. What you are telling them that you deposit after 3 months. So what you only can judge and take the call whether it will be applicable or not.
And 194Q TDS is to be made and paid in the year of purchase, in which the expense is disallowed, or in the year of payment, that is in the year when it is allowed as expense in Income Tax Act.
Payment.
I don't understand the question.
This is but this question I can say he or she wants to ask for 194Q. 194Q, see previously when 194Q 2 years ago when it was introduced, I think so in Finance Act 2021 it was introduced. So people in fear of losing, when they were raising the invoice, that time only they were deducting 194Q कर लेते थे. So many times 206 और ये दोनों trigger हो जाता था. But 194Q, first you have to determine whether it is applicable to you or turnover, then payment 50 lakhs rupees. Once it is crossed when you are making payment, see, paid or credited, whichever is earlier, that is the common phenomena we are using for the TDS. But for 194Q, paid or credited, आपको नहीं देखना है. For making the payment of TDS, you have to consider actual payment of the amount. When you are making payment to your supplier, you deduct the TDS. I think so. This query, Shilpa, it was related to 194Q.
Whether capital expenditure will be covered in 43BH?
Yeah, there is that big explanation is there, but seeing the time given to me, I have not covered under my FAQ. So if I will explain, it will take little bit 10-15 minutes. So purposely I have skipped it because in the short span, it was difficult for me to cover all these things.
Whether supplier who is a trader just purchasing and good selling, for traders, MSME registration was allowed only for limited purpose of getting priority sector lending. So he will not be covered under this provision.
So we have taken that FAQ also, no? Because benefit was given to them only for priority sector lending. So this provision benefit will not be applicable to them even though they are registered under micro and small. Then immediately after that second case study we have taken, if they are combination of both manufacturer, trader and retailer, then yes, that benefit will be available to them.
Will this provision apply to retention money received?
Retention money received means what? I think so. Our question is half, but retention money is related to what?
I think
question clear नहीं है शिल्पा.
क्वेश्चन मुझे लगता है ये पूछना चाह रहे हैं कि डिपॉजिट लेके रखते हैं ना, sometimes we take deposits, so refundable advances, something like that.
It is when you are deemed acceptance of the goods and services there, or actual acceptance of the goods and services, that word is used under section 43BH and section 15. So that whether retention money will not come under it, and if it is already you have taken in the previous financial year, then it will be coming in your opening balance. Then also we have already cleared that it will not cover, only because it is applicable from 1st April, this section. So if that money which have been taken in the previous financial year, okay, and if that advance which you have taken, you can prove it in a deemed acceptance of the goods, then it will be covered. So again, there is a very thin line for that. If you want to take a call, just go through the definition again and then you take the call. But sure, if it is in the outstanding closing balance brought forward in the current financial year, it will be not possible.
One more question, ma'am. From which days 15 or 45 days will be calculated? Date of raising the invoice or date of invoice received by the buyer, or when the goods services are received?
Goods services are received.
Okay. I think that should be all, ma'am, regarding the questions and all.
Barose ma'am, thank you for your kind words. It really means a lot to me when I'm receiving from stalwart of the industry such a comment. Thank you so much. I am obliged, ma'am.
Thank you, Rupal. It was very nice, very informative. I was also listening through the whole thing. We keep learning. Every time we do the sessions, I think I learn more.
Yeah, ma'am, it's the same here, but unfortunately, I can hear your session 50% because my mother-in-law had some emergency. She was going, so I could not. But thank you for such a kind word, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'm really obliged. And it was my privilege to share today's virtual dice with you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks, Shilpa. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Take care. So now I would just like to express my gratitude to the ICAI for having contacted me to be a part of this symposium. Today I had the opportunity of meeting two great speakers. The first speaker, Barose madam, she was like an enabler to me. And I'm sure to the people who all attended the session, ma'am, you were actually an enabler. I'm not just saying for the sake of saying it. I did take some value from your session. And I think I'll be implementing it right away. Rupal madam, you were very patient, very clear, very amicable, and very positive. We are very much thankful for all of you to have attended the session, to the speakers, to ICAI, and to the people who have participated. Thank you so much. Let's meet again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Happy learning. Keep learning, everyone. Thank you.